welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And it is March. We've had a full week of March, and it came in
like a lion.
Like a lion. It really did. Oh my gosh. There's so much weather to talk about.
It was very windy. The first day of March, it was very windy.
Yep. And then yesterday, we got tons of rain. I'm going to tell more about that in stories, but tons of rain yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that was it's exciting for those.
It depends on what part of town you were in as to how much tons was, but all of the city got rain.
Everywhere got rain. So, but I think Beth's going to go first.
Yeah, I just found I have a paper cut or something on my finger.
Should I call the doctor?
I have a story about a paper cut.
Should we go to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get the car ready.
I'm going first. So yesterday was my 7th day. I met my goal on my woodpecker. And you can
sorry, I gotta make noise.
Huh?
Make noise. My back.
I shall wait.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
So I worked on my woodpecker. And as you can see, when I started,
Woody woodpecker.
When I started, I had just like one shade of red of his head and like part of his face and part of his beak, and so I finished it up to about the bottom of his neck, basically. Do birds have shoulders? It was like kind of up to his shoulder. But so I finished all the red in the head and the eyes and everything, and I found this other yellow for the rest of his beak. But so I did the little cabin, got far enough down to do the cabin, and I did all of this one shade of gray on his body. It's sort of a medium gray. There's a little bit lighter shade that I didn't get to, and I was working on some of the white and some of the black, but got pretty far. Excuse me, but like I said, I'm obsessed with doing those little cabins, so I did little parts of it so that I could get over there without having to count too far. But yeah, so that's 7 days worth of work on the woodpecker, by Cottage Garden Samplings on linen that I dyed myself, 28 count linen. And there's the pattern. I'll have a picture of it, a close-up picture of it. But anyway, so that, like I said, yesterday was 7 days, and my next project, technically a WIP, but actually technically a new start, is one of these up on the rooftop stockings, the one with a deer. Now, again, I'll take a picture of it, but it's this little one here with a little reindeer on it. And so last time I went in December, went for the Jingle Ball class, which is what these are for. This is by Lindy Stitches. So I did this stocking for the Jingle Ball class. I couldn't do the class because I couldn't do the finishing stuff in the class because I don't have all my finishing stuff, but I took copious notes. But anyway, so I just this morning started the reindeer. So I just have the first reindeer of this set of 3 on this stocking. This is the bottom. She's legs.
I don't know why, but maybe it's the rickrack that those have on there, or the shape of the stockings. But looking at that picture, I have a totally nostalgic feel for Mom and Grandma. Like, I don't know. I really kind of...
Yeah.
It gave me strong feelings. So just now when I was looking at it, I was like, wow.
And I was looking...
I think it's the rickrack, too.
Yeah.
The rickrack.
I was reading the instructions that she did a template with this design, but the template is designed for a 32 count fabric, and I think this is 28 count. So the template's not gonna quite fit, but like on this, when on the instructions here it says you know, like the stitch count for each stocking is, it says 51 wide by 82 high, but technically they're not really, they're all different. None of them are 51 by 82. So they're all like a little bit taller, a little bit wider, whatever. And on the template, I guess like some of them, like on this deer, the back legs of this one deer, you can't see them. They kind of
They
wrap
get sewn
around.
in, kind of
They
thing.
yeah, they're either they're wrapped around or they're sewn in or they're something. But since the template that's provided for them is like, you know, designed for 32 count, so it would have to be wider for 28 count, or, you know, I think I'm just gonna try to, you know, like make my own kind of fudge it so that, because I don't want to cut his legs off, you know, I don't want to fold his legs under or whatever, so I'll see, I'll you know, figure it out maybe, and try to include his legs. See, his back legs are cut off. But so anyway, but yeah, so that's what, and that's basically all I did for this week.
Are you done?
Yeah, that's me.
Well, there were a couple of winners, because, okay, I'm in the middle of this section. I had a very busy week in terms of like my night obligations, and then I also got obsessed. I think I talked about this last week with Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. My boys have been playing for a while, and they got me hooked. And I was like, it's like I understand the obsession that people get with video games, because I'll be sitting at work and I'm thinking about it and seeing it in my mind. And I'm not joking. So, and I've been staying up too late actually, because I've had very busy all day work and then busy evenings. I would play it after when I come home, and then, so I've been sleep deprived, and I was at a concert last night and I was getting kind of sleepy, and if I started to doze off, I was seeing images from that game. So it is very scary. It's scary. And I'm like, I need to stop that. So all of my crafts have been on hold. I have done some work on this sweater. I'm in the middle of a row, so I'm holding it weird. This is the 3 pieces from 3 triangles, 3 rectangles, 2 triangles sweater pattern. It's by Very Pink Knits. You make a back and 2 fronts. They're just rectangles, and you sew them together here, and the fronts kind of overlap. It's just an open cardigan. And then you make, it says triangles, but it's not real triangles, for the sleeves. Sew them, sew down the sides, and you have a cardigan. So it's a very simple pattern. And I've been very slow on it and really haven't done anything else. I'm sad to report. I'm sorry to be boring. But I did go, after we recorded last week, I went to Joann's, and because I was really interested in their sales on their patterns. And I'm not one of these people that just showed up at the last minute. I've been going to Joann's for years. So anyway, I did find some patterns. They're not hugely deeply discounted, so it wasn't like, I got this for 15 cents or anything like that. But, and I didn't really expect that because of, you know, because they're brand patterns, so they probably can't discount them too deeply. I did get this top pattern for, is it this one? Yeah, I got this one. It's for knits. I do have a serger, and I've used it probably 1 time, maybe twice, and I want to use it more. So this is a knit wear pattern, and to be used with a serger, I'm sure. It didn't say that, but it's stretch knit. Yeah, interlock. Yeah. So anyway, I got this, but I got it in 2 sizes because it has a sleeveless, a short sleeve. It's got a few different views. Yeah, it's got like a 3/4 length sleeve, a regular short sleeve, and a sleeveless. And so I thought between me and Hannah, I can use this over and over again. So I got kind of Hannah size and my size range, and so that really opens up a lot of size ranges as well. And so I bought both because I was like, I don't know, because I didn't want to take the time that last week to actually look at the sizes and measurements and all that. And I thought, well, I'll just get both, and that'll cover me. And then for myself, I got this. It was very hard because they have a lot of really nice tops, and I want more tops for work. So I got this one. It has a kind of a cool pleated front, which I dig. I have some commercially purchased patterns this way. And this has a sleeveless version, a version with ruffles on the ends of the sleeves.
Commercially purchased patterns?
No, commercially purchased tops. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I
was
some,
like,
I have some
isn't
with
that a
little,
commercially purchased?
No. I meant.
You meant the top was already made.
Like a JCPenney, whatever. I have some with that little front pleat, and I kind of like it. And so this is sleeveless, and one sleeve has a ruffle on it, and then the other has elastic. So it's got different sleeves. So I like that. And it's for dressy fabrics. So I kind of like it. It's a nice ruffle. It's not too bad. And then it has a little bit of a elastic. So anyway, I got that for me. And I messaged Hannah when I got to Joann's, and I'm like, I'm looking at patterns. Is there anything that you've been wanting, needing, that I can buy a pattern for, to keep on hand or whatever? And she was like, no, I have too many clothes, no clothes. And I said, okay. However, I'm going to buy you this because I saw it about a year ago, and I wanted it, and she often needs fancy dresses to play concerts in, recitals, whatever. I said, I'm buying you this because I've wanted to make it forever. And look at this pattern. It is gorgeous. And when I very first saw it, I said, I want to make this. So then when I was there, I found it and I grabbed it. Look at that.
I'll be right back. Yeah, I love it. I was looking at it when it was on the table.
It's just beautiful, and it's very her. It's very violin, recital, whatever. So I have it, and whenever I'm called upon to make it,
you could rename it Belleville Bassoon.
Belleville Sassoon. Yeah, no, I really dig it, and it's the correct shoulder. That's also a plus. Well, actually, wait.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's not the correct shoulder. Oh, that's a problem.
Just switch it.
I might could switch it. I might could flip it and make it, yeah. Violins use this shoulder, right? So I was thinking, yeah, I can just flip it upside down, right? And turn it.
Yeah, just switch it.
Yeah.
Most want their right shoulder free, but just switch it.
Yeah.
It sounds easy, I know, but
Anyway.
it can be done. You just
No,
flip
I
the
know it
bodice
can.
pattern over.
I know it can because I had to do that with a pattern I was making for her. The skirt was printed. I cut the skirt the way it was printed. And when I went to put it on the bodice, the markings didn't match up. I had to go and buy more fabric. I went to Mark and I'm like, I'm sorry, this fabric is very expensive, but the pattern was backwards, and I don't have any. And he's like, go. So I went and I got more fabric, and I turned that upside down, cut it out, and then it was perfect. It was printed backwards. So I know it can be done.
Yeah,
I've done it.
you just cut it out backwards.
So that sadly is me. I do have stories though.
Okay, so finish the fox.
Oh yeah, look at the fox, our little centerpiece.
I'm not real happy. The finishing instructions, there's a video. It's clear as mud.
Oh no.
And there's no written instruction.
Was this a little kit?
No.
Oh.
No, it was a pattern I bought.
Oh, okay.
But he's cute enough that I'm not too mad about it.
He's so little.
And I've been trying to do some other crochet projects that, let's just say, they're less than successful. And then I bought a, it's just because I don't have the right yarn versus needle. issue.
Oh yeah, because I gave you a bunch of yarn, right?
But it's too fat for the needle I have, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait.
Pause.
Never prepared.
The first time was the dog's fault. She had to run away for the dog.
Oh, I cut my finger.
Oh, I think you'll survive.
No, but it's
You
like
want me to
right
call
where,
the doctor?
it's right where I have to
Yeah.
stitch.
So, this is made with the wrong size
Oh.
needle, so I need to make it again with the correct size needle.
Let me see.
It's a
Frog.
little frog.
Oh, it's cute though. I see.
Yeah, it's just, it would be better if it had the correct size needle.
Or if you had different yarn, like smaller yarn.
Right, but the
I used the yarn she gave me,
yeah.
but
I see.
it doesn't work right because the needle is too small, so the stitches are really,
Yeah, jammed.
it's a thing, okay?
Yeah. It's called gauge, yeah.
Yeah, so if I used smaller thread with the needle I had, it would be a smaller frog. But I thought this frog was cute. And the same person has another pattern that's a lily pad with a frog standing up and another frog down. And it is absolutely adorable, but I would have to buy that one too. I bought a pattern. It's a chicken. The pattern printed in black and white, so I'm not going to show you that. But I will show you a picture of the chicken. It is so cute. Did you see the chicken pattern I sent? I sent you a chicken.
Oh, did you?
To you.
Sorry.
It's a chicken and the chick is coming out of the egg. It's adorable. Anyway, but let's just say my starting on those has been less than successful, about as successful as this, because you need to have the right size yarn for the needle you have.
Yes. And
So-
I'm sorry, when I gave you that yarn, I didn't realize I have tons of needles. I could have given you a needle.
And I meant to ask you,
Sorry.
but you know, whatever. So I have been trying to work on this cat, which I put in timeout several times this week. To fix the errors in this pattern, it would be easier to start over.
Oh no.
And I just found another one as I was sitting here, and I was like, oh my God. Apparently, I couldn't add and I couldn't count when I was working on this. But I will fudge it and finish it because I'm darn near close.
You were
And I'm
going to
just
say
like,
you're almost done with it.
I'm like, I'm just gonna figure it out. It's not gonna be the same as the other cat. And he asked me if I care now. No, I do not care.
I'm going to examine it every day.
Well, you will see the errors easily. So every time I put it in timeout, I worked on something else. So I did work on this because this is another project I'm supposed to be concentrating on.
What is that? All the gnomes?
Yeah.
The bee?
Let me
bees
put
and
this
gnomes.
Cute.
Let me move this needle to the back. It's really a cute pattern. And let's just say I should probably have had it finished by now, but you know. I have one flower and the middle gnome almost done. The middle gnome almost done. The right-sided gnome done. And then there's all the flowers on the bottom and the left side. I'm starting on the left side. Okay. I have this gnome done. I'm almost done with this gnome. And I'm working on this gnome. And then I have to write be happy. Can I write it with a pen?
And then the flowers are so cute.
And then the little flowers on below. And these bees flying around are just absolutely so cute. Now, I only have them partially there, so they don't really look like bees yet because I don't have the blue on there. But that's a nice break from the disaster that this cat is. And then my new start for the first new start I had for this month, Snowed In Winter by Stitching with the Housewives. Oh, I'm sorry. Both of the last two patterns that I showed you are from Cross Stitching for Fun. They are a Russian/Ukrainian team of friends. Anyway, this is from Stitching with the Housewives. This is as far as I got. It is a very small pattern. I should have finished it, but I didn't, because I finished this snowman and I hated it. I was like, because it's yellow.
Oh.
I'm like, it looks like it's peed on snow. It's charted for eggshell. And while it's on the white side, to me, it just looks yellow. And so I stitched over it, like half stitches over it, with white and shiny thread. And then I filled in the buttons, because she leaves her black things, she leaves them blank. And I wanted the buttons and the eyes on the snowman to have dimension and not just be flat. So I filled them in with sparkly black. It doesn't sparkle very much, but I know it's sparkly. You can really see it in his eyes. And
That's nice.
and then I'm going to try to stitch all the white before I go back and put in other things. But with the way I count, that might not be a good idea.
I was gonna say.
So I think I'm going to try to stitch all the white on this tree, and then go back and put in the brown on this tree, and then stitch the white on this tree. Not that I'm working on it anymore this month, but I was looking at the snowflakes. Now I obviously already started putting in the little flakes inside the snow globe. But he's holding a snowflake, and then there's snowflakes outside of it. And I had added shiny thread to its accentuate to the snow, and I planned on adding it. I put it in after instead of blending it at the same time. Anyway, except for the eyes, I just did it in black accentuate. I'm thinking about stitching the snowflakes with just accentuate and not putting the white underneath them. These snowflakes and that snowflake, it shows up as a very ethereal thing.
Well, that might look cool.
Yeah, I think you can see what it looks like right there.
Yeah. That might look cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stitch one and see what it looks like, and then make a decision whenever I pick this up. I don't know when that'll be. It's a very small pattern. I thought I would be done, but the day that I started this, I was doing a gazillion things, and I just didn't get back to it again. And then, what do you want now? You already went to the bathroom. Don't blink at me.
Our special guest.
What?
Our special guest wrote.
This is Under the Sea. This is a temperature chart that I designed. It's on our Etsy shop. I started March, so I put more water. Threads from that cat everywhere. Okay, I started March, and I'm almost done with this water, but I have to, there's this last one, and I'm like, is it gonna reach the thread? It's really small, and I didn't feel like dealing with it, so. Notice purple, and also notice that I didn't have any purple in January. Does that tell you anything about how cold it was yesterday? I'm like, it was what temperature?
Yeah.
It was, and it was bitter with the wind. The wind was blowing so hard that,
It was bad and like a wet.
that you saw, yeah, well, it was a wet wind, but you saw, all kinds of interesting things happening with that. The rain wasn't moving sideways, but it was darn near close.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was purple. I had to use purple. Well, at least it
Eli
wasn't.
says the rain's coming back next week.
Yeah, later this week. Yeah. Well, that would be next week. Okay. So
Depends on how you count your weeks. Yes.
I had, when I went to the attic, I only ordered 2 patterns. And then Beth is like, are you sure you don't want to order anything from Keepsakes?
Yeah, because I had ordered some
So-
stuff at the attic also from Nashville.
So I,
And then, yeah.
yeah, we can talk about that in a minute. So I give in to things I would have been thinking. There is still more that I want because there was a good crop of patterns. But I got this last year, Maggie May by Stacy Nash. There's another one of these. I didn't order it. I was strong. It's a frog. But this wasn't called. It's on my WIP-GO, but it wasn't called. And I was like, am I really going to get another crop of market patterns, having never started this? And I've seen other people that have worked on this. Look how small it is. It doesn't look like it would be that small, does it? This is just the bunny. And by the way, the bunny and the needle book, the patterns are like together. So when you look for the middle of the pattern, it includes the needle book, which is off to the side, and I just wanted the bunny part. I may or may not stitch the needle book, I'm not sure. But I started it over too far this morning. I was like, ugh, because the middle included the radish. But I went ahead and started it this morning. It's not a huge start, but you know.
Can I see the pattern?
So the bunny is very much in browns, and it's got a little bit of gold. But I changed the colors because I'd seen other people doing it. And this is my jam, this color selection kind of thing. These are still Weeks Dye Works threads, but let's just say they're more colorful. Yeah. My bunny, instead of being brown, he's going to be gray, this beautiful gray. And my outfit's going to be in shades of teal. So this is the color palette that I have for that. And I will still work on this nightmare of a cat as we sit here.
Perhaps.
Well, the thing that I found wrong this time is that these 2 sections are too close together. Right here. So this down here is too far apart.
Yeah.
But up here it's too close together.
No one will ever know.
I will. But I'll
You just budget.
I'll survive.
You'll survive.
Just barely. So that's me.
That's you. So that means it's time for question of the week. Last week, we asked if you were planning to buy anything from market. I don't think anybody responded in that regard. 2 people. And
Most people either restrained themselves or didn't see the question.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I suspect it's the latter.
Yeah, but you all bought stuff at market.
Yeah,
right?
I ordered some stuff when we were at the attic. I ordered I want to say 3 or 4 items. There's one called Pigeon and Puddle, or Pigeon and Puddle,
Pigeon.
or Pigeon. Anyway, it's a pigeon in a puddle with little boots on.
Could have just done the one
And I
I
think
designed.
I think that's a blue flower. And then a couple of other things, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But then, you know, I ordered them from the attic because, you know, I didn't have the money at the time, but of course I'm not going to have to pay for them until they come in. So I thought, okay, that's great. I'll have the money then. Because I was waiting until Monday when I got paid. But I had seen on week before last, I guess, Stephanie Just Keep Stitching. She works at Keepsakes, and she was talking about how they were going to be taking orders for Nashville until close of business Tuesday, close of business Eastern time, Tuesday. And so on Tuesday, I was like, you know, I have money. And so I was like,
You're flush with
order
cash.
something. And so I asked Eve, I said, did you want to order anything from Nashville? Because I'm gonna order some stuff from Keepsakes. And the reason we had ordered from the attic is, of course, wouldn't have shipping charges.
Yeah.
But, you know, so for Keepsakes, it was like, well, and so there were a couple of things I wanted, and so then Eve gave in, and she said, okay. So
I ordered the flamingos.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I ordered, it's called Moonlit Moth,
Yeah.
and I just love
And
it.
the Blue Moon.
And Blue
Yeah.
Moon. It took me a while to track down who it was that did that. Now, Tiny Modernist did a moon, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I love this blue moon. It is so amazing.
Yeah, because her Tiny Modernist moon pattern is, you know, they're all part of that night garden thing. And so Tiny Modernist has a moon, but it's like a yellow moon. And this other one, Blue Moon, is the blue moon. It's a, you know, one of those crescent,
He's got little rosy cheeks.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
adorable.
It's very cute. And
I should not have bought any more patterns. That's why I started this. I'm like, seriously, I can't not work on them and just buy them and put them in a box. No.
yeah, so I ordered a few things
Yeah.
from, and it was funny because I had placed an order, and then like at the last minute there was something else I saw.
These are disappearing into the netherworld. I
no,
don't know why we
no,
feel like we
yeah.
have to order them
But
right
so-
away.
Because it's fun.
Well, I was looking at like national exclusives, and you know, so they are going to eventually show up, but you know, whatever. So anyway,
Tiny Modernist said it's just like
a few
month or
months,
two.
yeah. But so, but there was something I wanted. I decided after I had placed the order. I thought, oh yeah, I meant to get this one, and so I called the shop. And
Didn't you do that last year too?
Yeah, and I talked to Stephanie, and it was like quarter to 3 our time, so quarter to 5 their time. There, you know, it was like I think I got it just another wire. She goes, yes, you did.
Yeah.
So I added this.
You
other
did that
item.
exact same thing last year.
What
Yeah.
did you add this? What did you
I don't
add?
remember.
Oh, you
I have
needed
it-
it. You
I have
wanted it so badly.
I have it on my phone probably, but you know.
Well, we got 2 answers. Vicky said she controlled herself, only ordered 3 things, but she has her eye on many more. And Chris Cook said that she's ordered Teresa Kogut's stocking and her stitching lady and Tiny Town Nativity. So
Oh, yeah.
That Tiny Town Nativity, I had to just really go, no. Because I love the tiny towns,
Yeah.
right? But that is a hole that is so deep that I did not want to fall into it. Because they're adorable.
yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Okay, saying that, and yet I bought that chicken pattern
Yeah.
was from England. So I even had to pay the surcharge on the English price.
Yeah. There's a lady talking about crochet, and she does knit patterns. I've talked about her several times before, but called Dot Pebbled Knits,
Oh, yeah.
who creates very realistic looking I wouldn't even call them amigurumi. It's just knitted, like stuffed animals. And I have one of her books, and I have several of her patterns. And if you're on her newsletter, her name is, it's Dot Pebbles Knits, and I think her name is Claire Garland. That's right. If you get on her newsletter, every Friday she puts out a free pattern. And I have not been keeping up with my newsletters, but so just FYI, if you're a knitter, she puts out a free pattern every week. I think it's every week. So I guess we don't really have a question lined up, but I want to know, because how many of you out there, maybe we've asked this in the past, but I really want to know how many of our viewers are knitters or crocheters. Because I do obviously cross stitch, but yarn is more my jam, and I'm just wondering how many of us there are out there. Let me know. Give the yarn a shout out, and because I'm curious, very curious, and if you are a knitter or crocheter, what types of projects do you like? Do you like garments? Do you like small wearables, or like bigger things like blankets and stuff like that? So I'm just curious. So know if there's any of my fellow people out there.
Oh, I know that. I remember my other story.
So I remember sitting by Grandma as she would crochet, and she had this beautiful shell pattern that she would do. I kind of sort of remember how to do it, but I saw a video, it's just a little short video, no words, nothing, on crocheting this other pattern, and I was like, that looks a lot like Grandma's shell pattern. Grandma's was prettier.
I have some of her old crochet doilies that I can't believe.
The fine
with
needle
no pattern.
work,
Yeah, with the fine
she
thread.
would just make it up.
I know. I know. It's inspiring.
So let me tell a quick story.
Okay, we're into stories now. I got some
So-
poppers.
As you know, I teach young Rembrandts. And at the end of the drawing, they take it's just computer paper, just plain white paper. And we staple it to a color of their choice, construction paper. And the construction paper that I'm using is a high quality, so it's a little on the thick side. And I was looking for the color that a child was asking me, and I must have slid my hand along the edge of the paper and cut my hand. And at first I was trying to ignore it. I went, ow! And at first I was trying to ignore it, right? But then it wouldn't stop bleeding.
Oh no.
And I had to ask a child run and get some tissues, and I'm just trying to
Keep it off the paper.
well, yeah, I bled on some of them.
Oh.
And I'm having to tell the kids, okay, here, and put it there, now push it, and then staple, right? Because I couldn't stop the bleeding, and my boss is like, don't you have a first aid kit? I'll get you a first aid kit. I'm like, yeah. I didn't want to tell her, it's at the bottom of my bag. What am I supposed to do? With one hand reaching around? And it was the end of the day. It was like we needed to leave in 5 minutes. I wrapped it with Scotch tape.
Oh my gosh, I had a colleague.
So when we were there, when I went to my meeting on Thursday, she handed me a wad of Band-Aids.
Put these in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's just a paper cut. That's funny. I have a colleague who, I guess they were doing an event, and I don't know how she did this, but frankly, a bad knife etiquette actually. But I guess they had a knife, it was very sharp or whatever, and they were using it to cut the cake, which, you know how cake gets on knives, right? So I guess she was washing it in a little sink off the area where the event was, something like that. And she's like, I was washing the knife. And she goes, and I gave it one more pass. She was washing the knife with her fingers and somehow sliced like a huge slice. I haven't seen it. A huge slice into her finger. And it was just gushing blood. And she didn't want to tell the guests or anything, even her bosses, I guess. So one of her colleagues helps her just wrap it. And she's like, okay, I gotta go And then I guess she wrapped it up really tight, but didn't go to urgent care till the next day, and wound up needing stitches.
Some people, okay, so when I was working for CPIS, we were drilling holes in wine bottles so that we could put fairy lights inside them. It was beautiful, especially if it was like a amber colored bottle or something. I had vices there for the bottle. Did he put it in the vise? No, he did not. So he drilled his hand.
Oh, jeez.
And he didn't come tell me.
Oh, no.
His one-on-one came and said, so-and-so drilled his hand. And I went over there, and he had this big old hole in his hand, right?
Oh, my gosh.
It's not like we were using a gigantic drill bit, but, you know.
Yeah.
He
Ooh, I
drilled
knew
his
this
hand.
guy who...
Yeah. And he didn't want to go to the doctor. And he goes, I don't have insurance. I'm like, the company has insurance, you're going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, really, I didn't think about that. That would have been a workers' comp accident.
Oh, yeah, it was a workman's comp.
I knew this girl who I used to work with her when I very first started working, but she was married and she and her husband were had made dinner, I guess, and they were doing the dishes, and I guess he was drying the dishes, but with like the paper towel or something instead of like a dish towel or whatever. But so he was drying the dishes, you know, as she was washing them. And she had washed, they had like a big butcher knife that they had used, and she had washed it, and she handed it to him. And he took the paper towel and he put like the blade side this side in his hand like this, and went whoosh with the paper towel and like whoosh, cut his hand up, you know.
Okay, don't cut yourself with anything. Not paper, not knives, not drills. Okay, just stop it.
Hannah, when she was young, she was, you know, she was working pretty hard violin-wise, and she was using our mandolin and sliced it like a little, I don't remember, I think it was her pinky, and I think it was on her bow hand. I don't think it was her violin hand, but I think because she's right-handed, so she was doing it. And she sliced like the tip, just like the tip layer off, and her teacher's like, no knives.
Well, when I first joined the symphony, the guy that was our conductor at the time, I think it was like the afternoon before an evening concert that he was, you know, making dinner or whatever, and he cut his finger, you know, with the knife, and we had to go and have stitches over it. So he's over there conducting the concert with a big old bandage on his hand.
Yeah, it's easier than you think.
Well, when I was later on, when I was with different conductor, I had a cold, and during rehearsal, I had a big old, you know, coughing fit, and the conductor was like giving me the evil eye because I was coughing in the middle of a quiet section or something. Fortunately, it was just rehearsal. But so so for the concert, I had bought just a little bottle of cough syrup, and this was before the concert, and I had, you know, I had opened the bottle to take some medicine, and then like, you know how when you open the bottle, it has like that little safety ring that snaps off, whatever. In my obsessive, compulsive brain, I decided, I don't like that little ring. I'm going to cut it off. And I had a one of those box cutters, and I went to cut the little plastic neck of, you know, and I was going down this, and you know the bottle has, you know, little slopey shoulders like this, right? So I'm going along, and I could, you know, there was a little bit of tension as the blade went through the plastic, and then like right as it broke through the end of the plastic, it slid on that shoulder and cut my hand like right in between my thumb and, you know, right on the edge of my.
Cough, but you can't play.
Well, you know, it didn't hurt to play at all because your hand was like this, right? So you know, but the the skirt I was wearing had like an elastic waist or something,
yeah.
and so so it was kind of loose. So I had put a Band-Aid on it, and it was this weird, awkward place. But I didn't, after a while, it didn't hurt. It didn't, wasn't bleeding, whatever. And so I thought, that's really stupid. You don't mess with your hands. But after the concert, I was changing my clothes, and I went to pull that skirt off, and I just went and opened it up again. And it was like bleeding all over the place.
So, your spoon.
Oh, my spoon story. Well, I had one simple story. It's a little cross stitch story. I cross stitch in bed, and sometimes I drop my needle, whatever. But I can usually find it. I get up and it's there, or it's on the floor, or whatever. I find it. But the other night, I have my blanket that I use, and I have a cat blanket because my cat Snug likes to burrow under the blankets, and so he'll paw at the blanket when he wants to get under there. So I pick it up and make a little tent for him, and he climbs under. Anyway, so I had been watching TV, and I had the remote, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, well, it's probably one of these blankets somewhere. So I was picking up his blanket to look for the remote, and there was a needle in there, a cross-stitch needle and it wasn't the needle I was using because I had the needle I was using, and I'm like, where did this come from?
It's been in there for.
Fortunately, yeah. I was like, I don't know where, but I found that, yeah. But oh no, I have my cat food spoon story. If you're squeamish, look away. No,
that would be the blood story.
No, yeah, no. The other night, I had some Talenti ice cream, and those of you know, it comes in a little jar, and I had some of it the night before, but so I had plans. I was going to eat this ice cream, but I thought, I better feed the cats. And so I fed the cats first. But I had taken a nice clean spoon to my room with the ice cream, and I put the ice cream up on this shelf on my bookcase into my cat-free area, so the cats wouldn't mess with it while I was feeding them. And I had taken the spoon in there also. But anyway, so then I fed the cats, and I have a cat food spoon. I have just an inexpensive little spoon that I use for the cats because every night they have a little can of Fancy Feast, but it's pate, and one of my cats doesn't particularly like pate. But anyway, so to make it easier for the both of them, I have a spoon, and I just take the spoon and break up the little pate thing for them. And also because Snug takes medicine, so I use that spoon to. But when I'm done with it, I wipe it off. I have a paper towel, and I wipe it off as clean as I can, and I just leave it in the little cat food area thing. Anyway, so I had done all that. And then I went to throw away the cans and all this, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have my ice cream. And I don't know when I picked up the spoon, but I picked up the spoon and I went to, I think I was, walking around doing stuff, and I stuck the spoon in my mouth. And I thought, the spoon
this tastes like fish.
No, I really didn't even taste it.
This ice cream tastes strange.
No,
You just put it in your mouth to hold it?
Yeah, I just put it in my mouth to hold it, and it was kind of like, it wasn't, I could tell it wasn't clean. And I thought in my head, oh, I guess I used it to eat my dinner earlier, and that it was a spoon from that, and so.
You can't be left alone.
Because I could tell it wasn't clean. And I just thought it was, dried food from earlier, right? And so I didn't think anything of it, and so I just kind of licked the spoon to clean it. And then I ate my ice cream.
And then you found the clean spoon.
I ate my ice cream, and then so that night, it was late at night, so I just took the Talenti thing, because I was going to rinse it out and put it in the recycle because I'm a responsible person. But I stuck it in the sink, and I stuck the spoon in the sink. And then like the next day, I guess the next morning, I found the clean spoon sitting somewhere else on my nightstand. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, no. What it was that night, I went to feed the cats. And I was like, where's the spoon? Where's the cat food spoon? And then I was like, and then I had since found the other spoon. And I thought, oh, I guess I just didn't, I just used and I had put it somewhere else. And then I put two and two together. And I thought,
my gosh.
The cat food spoon is what I ate the ice cream with.
Well,
I have
so to couple with that, when we were newlyweds, I had nothing else to do. My husband was like, "You should try the cat food," and I was like, he ate one, a little hard like nugget. He ate one. He goes, "You should do it." So he kind of tackled me, held me down, and made me eat one. So we have also eaten cat food.
Robert used to eat dog food. I couldn't make him not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was tuna. It was seafood, cod, shrimp, tuna, something there.
Fancy feast,
Yeah.
It was
Well made.
That's not fancy at all, as Sheldon would say.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So now, what happened in the weather?
What happened in the weather? Well, okay, so.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. So, okay, I wanted to tell about a crazy week. So Tuesday night, I was trying to think. Did I have something on Monday? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't remember if I did something on Monday. But Tuesday night, we had a concert.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday night, I went out with an old colleague. It was very nice. Thursday night, I had a work concert, which was. Oh, it was a nightmare, but it was fine. It was
When was the
fine.
Bugs Bunny thing?
How was the Bugs Bunny thing?
No, when was it?
It was last weekend.
Mm.
We went Saturday night. It was so good. The orchestra was so good, and the conductor was like, "This is a world-class orchestra." Because I've worked with orchestras all over the world, and this orchestra has been the best. Like he's like, "I'm not lying to you. I'm not just saying it because I'm here." And actually, he told other people like,
I'm redesigning the pattern, if that's okay.
Okay. And so he was like, "This is the best orchestra I've worked with." Like he goes, "If you came here because of the cartoon, you should come back for all of their concerts for whatever they're playing." And it was really
The
cool to hear him say
little
that.
tiny bit that you showed me,
Yeah.
it sounded just like.
Oh, I know.
Just
I know.
like
It
the
was
cartoon.
amazing.
Mhm.
And so that was fun last week. But then yeah, then Tuesday night we had a concert. And I did not feel good during that concert. I got really dizzy and I don't know, just didn't feel good. And then Wednesday I went out with an old colleague who left many years ago and was back in town. So a friend of mine and I went and met her for dinner. It was really nice to see her again. And then Thursday I had this gig way up, not a gig, I had a work concert that I worked at, and it was very far from here. It was way up in Cave Creek, which is so far it was like an hour.
Yeah, that's where the bar is that has a real bowl for people. To
Yeah. It's good, and it's a beautiful place. And it was just
It's
it
far.
was a challenge.
It's
It was a
still-
challenge. I'll
It's
just say
still
that.
in town.
I'll say that so I don't lose my job. It was a challenge. And then last night we had the special treat of going to hear the Brentano String Quartet play up at Camelback. But yesterday was the rainy day, so it was raining when I left, and it said it was going to be high 50s for the day. I don't know what it wound up at finally.
It was 52.
But when I got to work, I did have an umbrella in the car, which I was glad of. So, did I use it at all yesterday? I did not. So that's the funny story. It rained all day and I didn't use my umbrella. I carried it around, but I didn't use it. Because it was just it was raining and then it wasn't. And then it was raining and it wasn't. And then it was raining. Now, I have to tell you something about Phoenix, okay? If it's raining and it has to be a certain level of rain to justify an umbrella. I can't describe it any other way. I was walking down the streets in Phoenix, and no one had an umbrella. I had one in my hand, and I'm like, I'm getting wet. I should use the umbrella, but I'm looking around and no one else has an umbrella. So it's like this social thing, like, it's not really raining that bad. If it was a downpour, I wouldn't be ashamed.
Downpour here?
No, there was, so wait a
There
minute.
has been
Hang
a
on,
long
hang
time
on,
ago.
hang on. No, hang on. So anyway, I walked, our parking garage, we only have one working elevator, and so here's my office. Here's the old work elevator that I wish was working. It's very close right there. And the other one that is working is way over here. Now, I park near that one because I have an aversion to going upstairs. So sue me, I'm lazy. And so I park near this elevator so that when I go home, I just go up the elevator and I'm out. But I didn't want to go down here because I knew it was raining. And that's a huge long walk. Either way you go, it's longer. So it's like, okay, there's a staircase. Now, the staircases I don't like because sometimes there's people in there that I don't want to step over. So there's a staircase. So here's the two elevators, and there's two staircases here. This one has an entrance at the bottom that is gated, so people can't just really walk into that one. They manage it somehow, but usually not. So it's like, I'm going to walk through the garage and go down the stairs over there. And so that I can be close to the office, so minimize my outside time. And even though I knew I wasn't going to use the umbrella unless it was pouring down rain. So I'm going down the stairs, and the back of my heel, I have like these, they're like Skechers, so they have a rubber sole. And I think because they were a little bit wet, they were more sticky. I can't describe that, but I went to step on a step, and my heel caught the step behind, and I like almost fell. I can even just pushing like that, I can feel my left knee really got tweaked. Anyway, I go in, and it's downtown, the wind is going, and it was so cold. And I had a sweater on, but it's got a huge, like a square neck like this. So I'm pulling out my knits today, and I wore my cowl that I made. That I love so much, and then I had my big coat, and this is freezing cold. So anyway, I got into the office and I realized that I didn't bring the cart that I had used at the concert the night before. It's a wheelie cart. I didn't bring it in with me, so it's like, I've got to get that because my colleague, my boss, is working the concert tonight, and she was going to need it. So whatever, and then we went out. I was like, I'll go get it later. And we were like pressing hard to get our new season brochure out. So we were all stressed out, all like head down, everything. And then somebody else came through and was like, there's this huge round of changes. So kind of our work was moot until we got that put in. Anyway, so we're like, well, that's coffee break. So we went to walk for coffee, and I brought my boss back some coffee, and I walked into her office, and I had my big coat and my cowl, and everything. She's like, oh, you're all bundled up. I'm like, it's freezing outside. It was so cold. And when I went at 3:00, I finally went to go get the cart. And I haven't been that cold since...
It was cold.
I don't know when. January, maybe? February, December.
The wind was blowing so hard when I brought the can in, the trash cans. I almost couldn't get it, to move, and I'm like,
it was bitterly cold.
And I had on a coat, not a sweater.
No, it was bitterly cold. So then, so then I go home, and then my husband and I
know you guys who are
we're babies. We know. Just
but it was cold.
Go with it. For us, it's cold. So my husband and I go to a concert last night. To hear the Brentano String Quartet. If you ever have opportunity to hear them, you should hear them. They are absolutely amazing. String quartets in general, they sound like one instrument because violin, viola, cello, they all are made the same, sound the same, so they blend really beautifully. But that quartet plays like one human being. I can't describe it. So, but we get there, and up where that church is, it's where they played, it's super dark all the time. It's the same place they do Messiah, right?
Mhm.
And we get there and it's kind of that wet, cold, you know, but not raining. And we're in my husband's car, where I don't even know if he has an umbrella in his car. My umbrella is in my car, but we took my husband's car. So we get up there and we're listening, and they play Haydn, that's beautiful, and then they play Beethoven. And during the Beethoven, all of a sudden you hear deluge rain.
Were you in Scottsdale?
No, it's like Arcadia, Camelback,
Yeah.
and
44th.
44th.
Like, that area got a lot of rain. I saw a news thing of who got the highest.
Yeah,
rain.
and I'm sitting there, so I'm trying to focus on the Beethoven, and somebody else at intermission was like, "Oh, Beethoven wrote that storm in," but it was distracting. It was so loud, just downpour, and I'm thinking, okay, the street there, the church is on Stanford, that's gonna flood. Like I'm thinking all this, like this is too much rain. But the problem in Arizona is we don't have the drainage that cities that get a lot of rain have. So
you don't need it.
and
most
the ground
of the time.
soaks it up, and then it starts to flood. So when it's saturated, and then you get the rain on top, you get a lot of flooding. So that's what I was thinking about. And then at intermission, I went up and I'm looking out and I'm like, it had stopped. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Because also I'm thinking, I don't have the umbrella. It's in, you know, and it's pouring rain. I don't want to walk to the car in this rain. I get distracted. Like, okay, great. So then we're sitting for the second half in some Brahms quartet. And we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, you hear this downpour again. And I'm like, oh no. But by the time we were out, it was over. But we were talking to the quartet. They travel all over the world. You know, they live in New York and they travel everywhere. And we were talking to them, and I was like, I am so sorry. The Arizona did not show up for you. He was like, he said, I never thought that on this whole tour, this would be the coldest day. The day in Arizona would be the coldest day that we've had. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. We're supposed to be 80s and 60s and 70s.
I had to pick her up. She kept coming here and going,
You're so cute. You're so sweet.
Yeah.
But so I have had something every single night, which is why I'm saying it. That's why I didn't knit. It's not really true.
Well, you know, when growing up in New Mexico, you know, it very rarely rains. Also, it's very dry, and it's also like there's no humidity to speak of. And the only time you have humidity is when it actually rains. But like, you know, during monsoon season, you know, in the summer, it rains like, you know, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock for an hour.
Yeah.
And so, so I had grown up in that. And when I went to graduate school in Indiana, you know, it rains a lot there. It's humid and it rains a lot. And it's very pretty. I remember when I went to audition, it was a kind of rainy spring season, and you know, like the trees were wet, and so they were very black, and then there's new grass and new leaves and stuff, so it was bright green.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. But then when
At what cost?
you know, when I was going to school there, a friend of mine who also we knew each other from high school, and you know, but he had gone to graduate school there a year before me, and he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna need an umbrella, because you know, in Albuquerque, it's like kind of like here, you have, you know, you might have an umbrella, but
You don't want to be an umbrella dork.
Yeah, although
I keep my umbrella in the car and almost never use it.
I don't think when I was in Albuquerque, I don't think I ever used an umbrella.
Yeah.
Except when I was a kid, it was like, ooh, I want an umbrella, you know, so like to play with.
So-
but I didn't use it, and then but then in Indiana, I bought an umbrella dutifully, and I had to use it there was a time when it was like every day you had to have it, and it was just like, why will it not stop raining? and then there was always inevitably somebody, you know, because we were in college, people are poor, whatever. But people would not have an umbrella, and so they would come to class like soaked like a wet rat, you know. And
So,
you know,
When I lived in Belgium, it rained every day. Not deluge, downpour, you know. It rained every day. It wasn't sprinkling, it was raining, but every day.
Yeah.
And I tried having an umbrella, but it was inconvenient, and I just got used to just being wet. And so I remember when I was living in Florida, everybody was standing under the eaves waiting for the rain to stop. I just walked to my car. So it only feels bad until you're completely wet. And so yesterday morning, Peyton was leaving, and I heard the garage door open, and then a little while later she comes back in, she goes, "Do you have an umbrella?" Because it was raining hard. And I said, "I have one in my car." And I just walked out to my car, handed her my umbrella. It's like, I'm like, for me, I'll use it if it is a downpour.
I use it if I have to walk a long way and it's seriously raining.
Yeah.
If I'm just dashing in and
getting
out.
my feet wet, and the umbrella doesn't help with that.
Right.
I remember one time when I was in Little Rock, it rained kind of that same way because we were in a very wet area because we would get a lot of, the wind train from like Texas and Louisiana would cut diagonally across the state. That's why we were in Tornado Alley, but that was part of the reason why. But so when it would rain, it would pour rain. And as a matter of fact, I remember one time I was walking to work, where I parked my car and I was walking to work, and I had my umbrella because it was raining, and I'm like, why is it dripping? What is dripping on my head? And my umbrella had like a little slit in it, and it was like leaking on my head. But one time, the symphony played for River Market, which is Memorial Day River Fest, which is Memorial Day weekend, and we also played for 4th of July. So I lived just blocks from the venue where we played, and so it was easier to walk down there than to park and then walk. And so for a while anyway, I used to just walk from my apartment. So it was about 6 or 7 blocks to the venue, to the outdoor place where we played. And so but I had taken my umbrella because it was one of those days where, you kind of like, well, I think during rehearsal it had rained. And the rule was that unless it's actively raining, you assume the concert's going on. You don't, and you have to wait till either they call you or something happens and they cancel it, You don't assume it's canceled. So we all went down to the venue, and it was just like, it was kind of dicey, it was kind of drizzly, and the audience, sits outside, and so it's like, I don't know if they're going to show up or anything. But so we were waiting, and like finally, like it was, they made the call, it's raining too much, everybody, we're canceling it. So there was a guy, he was one of the cellists that lived about a block or 2 from me. And so he was walking back with me. And so we were both huddling under my umbrella. And like by the time we got home, my whole back was wet from trying to share the umbrella.
Were your instruments getting soaked?
No, they're in the case,
So it rains so rarely here that for us, it's a news item.
Yeah.
I know you all live where it rains frequently. You're like, you can remember when it rained.
Yeah, I know.
Like I still remember that one rain where cars were stuck on the underpass on the freeway.
Rain-mageddon?
Yeah, where I walk out of my apartment door and there's a river going by.
Yeah.
And I look to the right and there's a lake.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean. Arizona floods.
Well, I remember you told me when you lived in that apartment building, that had that sunken
that's the lake
basketball court.
That was the lake.
Yeah.
And, it was at least 4 feet down, and it was
but it was full of water. And when I looked at it, I was like, how could there be that much water in it? Because it was very
all of I-7, not all of I-7, but parts of I-17, because the city is like this, and I-17 goes down, there where it was dipped down, it was flooded and cars were getting stuck in there.
And
Well,
under 10 on Southern?
I remember
Uh-huh,
that when I had my brain surgery, and it was early on, and
we got
Naomi had
stuck in
taken me
flooding,
for a follow appointment shortly after
I
that.
should have taken the freeways. I was
And-
afraid because of that, because the rain had happened maybe the year before. So I was
Yeah.
afraid to get on the freeway because it was just all day poured down rain. And I thought, I'm not going to get on the freeway. And it was worse because we were in the city streets.
It
and
was and
flooded
that was
everywhere.
that was the no good, very
Oh,
bad
yeah,
day
that was a
because
whole- yeah.
because my appointment was like either in the mid morning or thereabouts, and there was an issue because I have a shoot.
Yeah, we
there
wound
was
up
an
being
issue
there
about
all
like
day. Yeah,
the shed
yeah.
thing, right, and they couldn't get a clear view of it, and so they sent me to get an X-ray, and so
But they sent
so
you
they
to the
sent me-
ER.
yeah, to the. Oh, well, they I think they called my doctor's office, and the doctor's office wouldn't authorize like an emergency X-ray. It had to be like it was going to be a few days or something like that. And the doctor's office will say, the surgeon's office will say, no, we need it right now. And so I went to the hospital, which is like
Attached.
next door, and but I had to go to the emergency room, but it wasn't, I wasn't like bleeding, so it wasn't technically like I could wait. And so we sat there and sat there and sat there and sat there.
For all day.
And then finally they did the X-ray, and then we sat there and sat there and sat. And, so it just took all afternoon. And so by the time we went back to the doctor's office, it was like close to 5, and then we sat there because they were having to see these people and see these people. And so finally they saw us, and the place was closing down, and it was like, okay, you're fine. And so we went out there, and there's kind of like a breezeway. So I was waiting there,
Isn't
and
that
Naomi
the
went.
time that you were yelling at the gate guy?
Yeah,
'Cause he
Naomi went across the way to the parking garage, and he wouldn't let her out because
I didn't have my purse. Because I didn't want my purse to get soaked.
she was up on the top deck of the parking
So
garage.
I left and I had to cross the street outside
Yeah.
to get to the garage. I could have gone back in and across the walkway. I know that now, but anyway.
So I had a purse.
She had my purse, which had the all my cash, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it wouldn't matter because
And also your ticket.
Well, no, she
I
had
had
a
the
ticket.
ticket, but it was validated from
Yeah.
the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have my purse. I only had the ticket, and it was a validated sticker. So I go through, and he's like, "This validation is only good for 2 hours, and you've been here for 5, 6, whatever we were."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "I don't have any money. My sister's sitting over there. This is a validated ticket. It's not my fault I was here for 2. It's not like I was at the movies instead of being in the hospital. Like
There's nothing else there. It's a hospital complex.
It's a hospital garage.
There's nothing you can walk to from, not even a restaurant really.
So he's like, well, that's not how it's done. That's not how it's done. It was all, this is my kingdom. I'm the king of the parking garage. So he finally let me out. I think he took my name so I could owe him $2 or whatever. and he let me out. And the office people were so mad. They were
because I was sitting in the breezeway, and they're closing out the office, and the nurse practitioner person that had seen me, she goes, "Are you gonna be all right?" Like, because I was sitting there, waiting, and I said, "Yeah, Naomi's, getting the car. I don't know, And actually, because we had been there all day and we had had nothing to eat, she sent one of the people in the office to the cafeteria and got us little
snack tray,
snack boxes to because it was like, because we hadn't eaten, it was all freaking day from the morning.
They wouldn't let you eat because they didn't know what was going on or whatever.
Yeah, and so then she came finally with a car. We got in the car, and then by now it had been raining. So we decided, because of that incident with the flooding freeways, we decided to go through the city streets. But we had to get gas first, and then it was pouring, and so we went through the streets, and like you could see, like in the canalways, the canals were full to the tippy top, and the streets were running with the water, and it was was a horrible,
It was
horrible day.
Scary, yeah. It
And
was-
lots and lots of,
So-
5 o'clock traffic.
Yeah.
And,
You know how they were waiting with you and they're like, are you sure somebody's coming for you and all that, even though they had seen Naomi with you.
Yeah.
When I was driving Uber, I got a call to it was a medical center of some kind. It was near a hospital, but it wasn't part of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an elderly man sitting there waiting with a nurse or aide or somebody there beside him who had called for an Uber because he had one of those transport things, like either the taxi transport or one of those other things that was supposed to come get him, and he'd been there for hours and they had never come to get him. And so they called an Uber.
Yeah.
And I don't know who paid for it, but it wasn't who was supposed to be paying for his ride.
Yeah.
Somebody just felt bad for this man because nobody was coming to get him.
Oh my gosh.
And those transport guys, they used to come to pick up the people that I worked with, and if they are not ready right then, they will not wait at all. And I had one guy come to my door and I said, you're at the wrong door. Well, I'm not waiting.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you're at the wrong door. So if you go 2 doors down and go to the right door, you won't have to wait. And he got so indignant. And I'm like, do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job. But there were times that I waited there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Waiting for because they're allowed to be 2 hours late and still be on time.
But not the person.
The other way around.
Not
Yeah.
the other way around.
Well,
Yeah.
that nurse that was waiting with me, when Naomi came back, she told her what had happened with the parking ticket, and they took the parking ticket and they said that apparently people complained about this guy pretty often. Yeah.
Yeah, he had this is my king. I call it this is my kingdom syndrome. Like you're in charge of very little, and you think you're in charge of very much, and it's not the way. It's not the way.
If it's validated, it's validated. What did he think you were doing?
Yeah, that's what I
Having
mean.
lunch
It's
in
not
the
like-
cafeteria?
Right. It's not like I kind of understand when you have like parking garages that are near movie theaters and you have a 2-hour space and or even the airport, right? So like you can't park overnight in a short-term parking. But it's a hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And things happen. People get very sick and like, oh, what do I have to go out? Like I'm I'm visiting somebody at the ER. I'm parked in that garage and I've been there longer than 2 hours. I have to go out and get another parking pad? Like what? How can that even work at a hospital?
well, especially when it was validated by the doctor's office.
I know. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to leave. I have to leave the emergency room because my parking is gonna.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
That's what they think.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How much space do you think this is? I always think it must be 12 inches by now, but it's not. My phone is like 6 inches long,
Yeah.
so I have quite a ways to go.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get this done by her birthday, no way, no how, but that's okay.
She's like, we never celebrate. And I'm like, oh man, that is so sad.
I know. I really am bad. Anyway,
So I have more frogging to do because I found out it's worse than I thought, and I have to frog.
oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, Hobbs is such a problem.
He is a problem.
He's so funny. If I go, like last night, I came home from, I don't know, maybe it was last night, no, the other day, I came home from work or whatever, and I went to the bathroom, and then I hear Hobbs, meow, 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 and Mark's like, what's the matter? Mom won't come out of the bathroom, she'll be out in a minute, and he's like, no. So I won't let him in with me because he crawls on my back and then I'm stuck and I have to get rescued. But no, he's so funny. He's so funny. They're crazy kitties, but we love them. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry they're causing you such a problem.
Well, I think it's that I thought
You had started it on your own, or
I thought I was fixing something and I just made it worse. So I've got to go back and
Figure
see
it all
what to do.
out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Well, we're gonna take off, and we hope you've enjoyed your time. Hope you got more stitching done. And
I
thanks,
hope you're not having to.
Frog, or you're not weeks behind.
It's this guy's fault.
Frogs, frogs, frogs.
Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope we see you again next week. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.